This project is an outgrowth of a conversation that started in 1984 when first I came to UVA. For some reason, Richard and I hit it off immediately, and we identified Brown as one of our common experiences. Richard grew up in Virginia, I grew up in South Carolina. We quickly learned that each had been involved in some way with school desegregation.
The city school board in Norfolk was one of three in Virginia that voted basically to close the schools rather than to open them when under the pressure of desegregation. And this was in the fall of 1957. I was about to enter what we called then junior high school in the 8th grade. And so my schools were closed. And you know, how extraordinary, what an extraordinary thing to happen. And of course, I awakened, you know, morally to, you know, what the nature of this controversy was.
As the 50th anniversary of Brown approached, we started talking about this again, and sort of wondered how others of our generation felt as that anniversary approached, because we knew that Brown had had a tremendous impact on our lives. So we started thinking about ways of trying to get some of that information.
From the beginning, I think we had in mind stories and narratives. And we came up with a strategy of sending this survey to people who were basically in our generation. I think the idea was people who were either in school at the time of the Brown decision, either elementary or secondary school, or went to school in the immediate aftermath. And so that's why we came up with this 1936 to 54 cohort, and we're kind of right in the middle of it.
We wrote 5,000 people, asking them about what they remembered about Brown, what their experiences were, and we invited anyone who was interested in doing so to submit an essay talking about how Brown touched their lives. We got almost 1,000 responses to our survey, which I'm told was an extraordinary response rate. And we got this marvelous group of essays, and we knew we had to share them.
I started reading them, and I just thought to myself, these are really good. And, you know, they're a series of individual essays, so you would think you would read one and say, oh, well, that's nice, and I'll close the book and go do something else. I just wanted to keep reading them. And so I have just been amazed. I mean, it's kind of shameless to say it, but, you know, I have just been amazed at the quality of the, you know, of these essays and the basic, you know, human experience that, you know, that emerges from this. And some of them, you know, will bring you to tears.
The 40 essays represent all parts of the country. That's a part of the beauty of this book, I think. It's not just about the Southern experience, it's about the national experience. They're from colleagues who grew up in states from Florida to New York to California, and men and women, they're black and white, and they're written from the perspective of people who as children were affected by this decision in some way.
Our generation is in, you know, the ideal position really to reflect on it, because it was so formative, you know, for us to reflect on the world that we lived in and the communities that we lived in then, and the changes, you know, that were occurring then, and then to really look back, you know, from the perspective now. And subsequent generation, I think, just doesn't really know, you know, how it was, and hopefully this is a way of trying to, you know, to enlighten them about that.
I have found in talking about the book that people immediately begin to reminisce, people in our generation immediately begin to reminisce about the case and what it meant to them and the impact it had on them. They have stories. Everybody has stories to share. And I personally hope that this book will be a vehicle for people to talk, to share these stories, and perhaps to find common ground that they didn't know existed.